Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Check. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Nick Reynolds, Steve Harness, and Cousin Brewski. The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Take one.
What's happening, y'all? It is The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve, all of Brewski, and you know it. We are back for another exciting episode of this very podcast.
That's right. It's like a boomerang. We come back whether you want us to or not, and sometimes smack you in the face. Sometimes smack ourselves in the face. All part of the fun.
Boomerangs are a bitch, dude. I always wanted a boomerang when we were kids. Seemed like magic to me. So I always wanted one. But you got to know how to throw that bitch. I mean, if you don't throw it properly, it's not coming back to you.
It's true. I'm a natural at working wood in my hands, so maybe that's why I was good at it. But
yeah,
I used to have the Nerf one, but then my dad bought me one, like actually from Australia, and it did take a little getting used to. But I got that thing down too.
Aboriginal painting on it, yes.
It did, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And it, it doesn't come right back to you, but it comes back to your area.
You can grab it, right? Yeah, that's fascinating.
If I'm in your area, you can grab my wood too. So stop on by.
Oh boy. It's for all ladies, not men. He's not gay.
You know.
Oh, is it getting that?
The night's a puppy.
For you anyway?
Yeah.
We are The Vocal Minority. See our website, thevocalminority.net. You can call the program, leave a comment, ask a question, 844-48-VOCAL. We say, use your telephone as a microphone, you little bitch.
Yeah, give us a call. Whatever you are, 844-48-VOCAL. And find the social medias. We're on all of them, the ones that matter. I haven't updated Threads in a long time because I don't know if anyone's still on that thing. But
oh, yeah, I haven't heard much about it since it popped up. I mean, that was kind of short-lived in the media anyway. Am I right?
It was a new toy for a week or two. And now, Brewski, I know you were on it at one point, but have you gone on there anytime soon?
Yeah, on occasion. Usually when I do, it's because I'm on Instagram and it'll show me a little box that says some things that are going on Threads.
I gotcha. Yeah, Threads and Instagram are our two least successful because Instagram, it doesn't push any of those videos, so whoever finds us. But we're doing well on YouTube and TikTok. Facebook's hit and miss, but, we're on all those things, so find us. And thevocalminority.net is our fabulous website, so go check that out as well.
You sent me, I almost said inadvertently, I almost said you sent me a loser, and I don't know why I was going to say that, but you sent me a new listener that has just been posting like crazy or downloading like what were all those pop-ups?
Yeah, that was on Facebook. Somebody found that's the Lefty Liberal page, which I don't know if we've ever announced this on the show, but for years ago, I had a website called leftyliberal.com, and it was liberal pundits. Brewski was one of them, and a buddy of mine from the Detroit Free Press was one, and we were posting articles and podcasts and political cartoons. And so I'd started a Lefty Liberal Twitter account back then and Facebook pages, and they all got a few thousand followers back in those days. And I still have the pages. But I basically just use them for our benefit now. So I post the Vocal Minority political things on those Lefty Liberal social media accounts. And yeah, some guy found us, and I had like 13 notifications today that he liked this reel, he shared this reel, he was laughing at this reel. Like he just went through our page and was just liking all of the stuff on Lefty Liberal, which is all of our political stuff. So
it's always nice to have a new fan.
Welcome to the show.
Exactly. So everyone's welcome. Come on down.
Even those in Moscow in the official capacity, we still welcome them to listen as well.
Yes, KGB is listening to us. Somebody in Moscow is. I mean, I assume they're all KGB in some level, so that's fun. We do have some people in mainland China too. They're communists as well, right? So the communists.
Yeah.
So what's up?
That's quite the endorsement. Commies love us. Women adore us.
Yeah.
I mean, even the ones who never heard us, they like the way that we rhyme, and it's so. The reason why? I don't know. So let's go.
Wow, dropping some beats there. I don't know if the commies and the women love us or are afraid of us, but they're listening, and that's that's the main thing. So
we'll take it either way, won't we, boys?
Yes. Hey, real quick question: is your T-shirt today? Nick's wearing a monorail shirt. Is that a Simpsons reference? Because it is, whether you know it or not.
No, it's the Seattle monorail, and maybe it's a play. Maybe it's a play on Simpsons. Somebody put it together.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Well, there was a famous Simpsons episode that Conan O'Brien wrote back when he was a writer for The Simpsons. He got like his own episode, and he wrote one about the monorail coming to Springfield, and there was this whole song, monorail, 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 and so your shirt just says monorail 3 times. Like that seems like it would be either indirectly or directly a Simpsons reference. So that's
right. I like it. Well, I just stepped this shirt up on the cool level one more, dude. Thank you for helping with that.
So we all lived in Seattle. Nick still lives in the general area.
Sure.
How many times have you been on the monorail in
I was
Seattle?
just going to say the most useless monorail there is, because who rides that thing? Tourists, right? From the Needle to the mall, basically.
To Westlake Center, yeah.
Right.
I've been on it a couple of times, and I will say it's always when visitors from out of town came to visit, and we were going to the Space Needle or
tourist thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Seattle needs a monorail. They should extend that thing. I know there was talks of that at one point, wasn't there?
Yeah, there were talks of it, but it is kind of. I think it'd be a waste to extend it, but it has become useful because you could park downtown or hang around downtown during the day, or if you work downtown, you could hang there. If you have a concert or a sporting event over at Key Arena, it's nice to just pop on the monorail and head over there.
Yeah.
So Brewski's right. 80% of the time, it's when people come into town and I want to show them the monorail, but otherwise about 20%. I'll take it for real use.
Well, it's good you get to show off your monorail. So
I love the monorail, dude. Just one, monorail means one rail.
What?
Yes.
Oh, that all makes sense now.
Welcome to the program.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
Steve Harness.
I thought it meant you could get mono by riding that thing.
No, dude, it's one rail. Come on.
I always wore a condom every time I was on that thing. All right. News you need to know. I guess this is a follow-up to a story that we talked heavily about. It seems like about a year ago. Maybe it was a little less than that. And it blew up on the interweb, but none of us understood why no one was talking about it more.
Okay, aliens are coming to mind.
Yes, aliens. So I don't know, what was this, last summer or something? We seem to have proved that at least UFOs were a real thing. Who's piloting them, we didn't know, but we had credible military people testifying about unexplained aerial phenomenon that they couldn't explain, and that multiple people saw it with their eyes, that instruments were tracking it, and there was no explanation. We had this other guy that Brewski rained on about, saying that he had found the biological matter that was discovered at one of these crash sites. And
that's right.
The interwebs blew up that, okay, we've just confirmed that aliens are real, and no one seemed to care.
And it lasted for like 2 weeks. There was a lot of coverage about it, and they were on TV, and then it just kind of died down, dude.
And, we had the theory back then that the government has, like the X-Files, that they were making up certain alien stories to throw you off the track of the real one. And,
right.
And you don't know with the freaking government. If they say something's real, can you believe them? If they say something's false, can you believe them? Well, that's the boat we are now in. So let's see here. The truth is still out there. This article from Huffington Post starts, which is an X-Files reference. So thank you. All right. So the article starts off, the truth is still out there and not being covered up by a highly secretive U.S. government program, probably. I'm reading verbatim now.
Probably.
Right. So a wide-ranging new Pentagon review of decades of classified U.S. government documents on what is called unidentified anomalous phenomena has found no evidence of extraterrestrial activity or attempts to cover it up. Are they being honest with us, though? The 63-page report compiled by the Defense Department's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, who knew that was a thing?
Yeah.
It was released publicly a few days ago. It examined classified U.S. programs going back to 1945 and uncovered exactly 0 off-world contact.
I don't believe it, dude.
Well, I don't know. And then there's an interesting thing, though, here in the article, talking about, a program that was called Kona Blue. In more enticing news to UFO buffs, the report did describe a 2010-era Department of Homeland Security proposal, codenamed Kona Blue, that would have attempted to acquire and reverse engineer an off-world spacecraft. This was a real program. They've confirmed that this was a thing. However, Its supporters were convinced the U.S. government was hiding extraterrestrial technology, and believing that, they created the program. However, quote here from somebody, it's critical to note that no extraterrestrial craft or bodies were ever collected, the report emphasizes. The material was only assumed to exist, and that's why Kona Blue was created. But then apparently they got further into it and said, we don't have anything to experiment with. We don't actually have these things.
Listen, on one hand, I would think that, especially like in the last 10 years, that we've had all sorts of like whistleblowers with serious, important information that are, on some levels, are willing to die or be imprisoned at the very least,
or
to get this information
by testifying. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would have to think after all these years that we would have a whistleblower on this. Don't you think, if we had biological matter, if we had aliens in tubes and shit like that, like there's got to be a whistleblower at this point.
But we had that. Isn't that what last summer was? Those were all whistleblowers.
Not. They didn't give us anything but their testimony, though. Like, I want to see something. I want to see an alien. I want to see a piece of a flying saucer. I want to see something, dude.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And they're saying that some of these videos that have been taken by the military, that they say they have explanations for it, that it's misconstrued, that it was a weather balloon or it was a satellite falling from space. They say, no, we've got explanations for everything everyone testified to last summer. But this is the classic catch-22. Would they admit it if they knew there were aliens, or would they keep trying to cover it up, since obviously that's what the whistleblowers were saying, that it's being covered up?
Is it possible that the people behind this Kona Blue thing, is it possible that these are Joe Satriani fans?
Is that a Satriani song?
No, it's the name of an album from 1987 called Surfing with the Alien.
Of course it is.
Wait, the album was called Surfing with the Alien, or was called Kona Blue?
Yes. No,
okay.
but Kona is Hawaii. That's surfing in Kona in Hawaii.
Oh, now this shit's getting deep right here, dude. Come on.
Satriani's on the inside.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or he's an alien. I don't know.
That's impossible. I mean, he did have a picture of Norin Rad, aka Silver Surfer, on the front cover of that album. So,
Norin Rad, as in NORAD. Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, this is just getting deeper and deeper. Yes, mind's blown.
Interesting. So, I don't know. What do you do with that? Would the government confess if they knew, or would they throw us off again? So.
No, of course they wouldn't, dude. I mean, you know what? It's been funny, dude. I had my brother at my house all this past week, and if you listen to this program, you know that my brother's pretty conservative. One of them is. We were comparing stories because obviously we read our news on different sites, and we watch our news on different sites. Yeah. So all through the week, we were not only comparing stories, but comparing facts of what I know to be true and what he knows to be true.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, dude, how like throughout the week, I was just like, I mean, obviously I know I'm not going to the other side or trying to create a conspiracy theory here, but I do think that in different markets, different towns, that people see naturally different things. Like, what's the fucking truth? How do we talk to each other? Because you think something completely the opposite of what I do. Where do we find the middle ground on that? And what is the fucking truth?
Well, it's a classic question, I suppose. But what are you talking about? Like his local news covers different things, or he's watching Fox and you're watching MSNBC and you're
both. So here's a great example. We did a story a couple of weeks ago on the program, on this podcast, talking about the effects of a Roe v. Wade being cut off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember the numbers of women that had been hurt by this on many levels was astronomical.
Yeah, it was thousands. Yeah.
I'm talking about that because he's pro-life, and I'm talking about the importance of this Roe v. Wade, and what he had actually heard, not necessarily what he believed, but what he had actually heard was like 2-3%, like tiny freaking numbers of different towns and stuff like that. And he was like, it actually hasn't created that big of a deal, from what I've heard. And I'm like, how could that be, dude? If we had, here's the thing. You say, okay, all these people are having abortions. We have to stop it. And then you do stop it. in many states. And you don't think that there's going to be an uptick from that? Like now the numbers of people being hurt by it are tiny. They're not big.
Well, it depends how you're looking at those numbers, because you gave a raw number, like 2,000, women have died. What was it? They died from abortions or
there were a couple of them, but women that had died from abortions, women who had to move out of state to receive health care.
Right. So I'm just saying, like, you could have given the raw number, like 2,000 women were affected by this, but he's saying only 2% of people getting abortions were affected. Is that the same number? Because if Fox News tells you only 2% have been affected, you might think, oh, that's a small number. But
for sure, I see what you're saying. I completely see what you're saying. I misspoke. He said like 2 people. Like, we've only had like 2 cases. So he obviously heard about the woman in Texas that the nation has heard about. But how many have we not heard about? Well, I told you on the program a few weeks ago. It's a lot, dude. And he had heard like 2 people. Only 2 have been really affected by this.
Which sounds more plausible. 2 people or a few thousand out of the entire country.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Considering the last time I checked, the population of the United States was 366 million people.
Right.
And at least half of that population is female.
I don't know. Anytime someone says I heard something, like what does that mean? Because I would say I saw something on the news versus I heard something. I heard it,
It was news that he was referring to.
Okay. What news, though? Fox
That's
News.
what I'm saying. This is my point, dude. If you have all these people watching different things, and then you have, we obviously feel like we're right because we can deduce what's going on in the story and make logic of it all. But my point is that if there's so many people saying different things, like it's how do we come together? Because it's I'm black, you're white.
I think this is how Trump has so successfully confused everyone by putting so much misinformation out there that people just wash their hands and are like, I've heard 10 different things on this story. I'm going to ignore it all.
That's what we're doing with the aliens.
The way I know that where I'm getting my news is more fact-based. And I'm an MSNBC watcher, and the reason why I know that where I'm getting my news is more fact-based is because they make corrections there. If they misspeak, they make a correction, and they apologize for it. They also, if there's something where someone is somehow connected to Comcast or something like that, they will disclose so-and-so is with this person who's connected to Comcast, who's the parent of this company. But you never hear that from Fox. At all.
No, so that's what I say. I guess I question what he is calling a news source, what he's really citing. If it's Fox, if it's OAN, if it's any of that crap, if it's
just local news, it's everything. It's a different state,
Well, so here's the thing. I was just having this discussion last night on a date about, the media bias and that most media outlets, well, all of them are run by human beings, but that most of them try to, if they have a story, they want to skew it to who they feel their audience is.
Totally.
And most of us in this country lean to the left. So if a news organization like NBC covers a story, they're gonna decide what the headline should be, if the story is newsworthy or not. They're gonna look at most of the country leans this way, so that's how they direct the story. So a local news operation in Omaha may think most of our audience is conservative, so we need to slant this in the conservative perspective.
And when you say though that most of us lean left in this country, I don't agree with that. I think polls.
That's a fact. It's a fact.
I don't think that has been certified at all, dude, as a fact. Why do you say that?
Well, you got 40% on one side, 40% on the other. If you look at the center in this country, they tend to vote Democratic. They tend to be in favor of climate change being real. They tend to be in favor of gay rights. Like most of this country, I'm not saying they're far left, but most people are middle left in this country.
Moderate.
What you would call a moderate, but nowadays a moderate is somebody who believes in science, so that makes you a liberal. Things have been skewed so far in the Trump era, but yeah, most of this country believes in science and treating people well. About 60% of us do, but that it's the rift down the middle where sometimes people lean one way or the other. But no, you can Google it. I'm sure there's some facts out there to back it, but I've heard.
I'll trust you. I mean, listen. The reason I say how do you know that is because in Omaha, like the local news, okay, they're not trying to cater to me. Being far left in Seattle.
No, well, that's what I'm saying, though. Omaha is a conservative-leaning town, so the news is going to lean conservative. But nationally, most of us lean to the left.
Center states all the way through. the country.
I'm talking average. If you do it in one city, it's going to skew towards that city. But nationwide, most of us are center left.
No, that's true, dude. I mean, it's a crazy world we're living in. My point, the reason I brought that up is because I don't think we can. No, until we get solid evidence of aliens. I can see it, that I'm going to believe. I don't not believe, you know what I mean? Right. But I need to see it.
Well, but I think, Brewski, you had said something like, well, if it's real, why doesn't the president come out and announce it in the State of the Union? The problem is, even if the president came out right now and said aliens are real, we now know 40% of the country won't believe him because he's a Democrat, so they're not going to believe him. Like,
sure.
What kind of proof would we actually need? Like, does the alien have to give the State of the Union for us all to believe that they're real?
I need to see Mork for Mork. I mean, he made it pretty real, right? When he came down and he was like, this is my egg. I sleep in this, like all that shit. We need
nano.
Hey, have you guys, just real quick on this whole liberal media propaganda thing, have you ever seen this video circulating where they show different local news agencies reporting the same story and they're all reading verbatim?
Yes. It's incredible, dude.
Well, but we know why, or at least we should know why, right?
Well, we know the company that, one company owns all
Sinclair.
these stations, Sinclair, and they're giving the same message across the board, right?
Yeah, or it's wire services. They're all just ripping and reading. So they're taking a wire service. So that's why they're all reading the same sentences, because they're being lazy and not rewriting wire copy like we were all taught to do.
Completely. Yeah.
So it's not a conspiracy. It's lazy broadcasters.
Whoa, wait a minute. Are you trying to say that there are people in our industry that are lazy? Come on.
Yeah, we're humans. So, yes.
Yeah. I've had a lazy day or two,
Mm-hmm.
We've all done it.
Need to know news.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire.
News you need to know.
I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Not today, not tomorrow. Welcome to the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Olabruski. Do you guys know who Nancy Mace is?
I do, yes. She is a Republican representative. I believe she's from South Carolina.
That's right, Brewski. I thought you would know that. And you usually know a lot of women and men around this country that I do not know in small towns.
Like Mikey Sherrill.
Yeah, like Mikey Sherrill. Yeah, that's
and Nancy Mace, she's on the list of this new trend of good-looking conservatives, right? She's kind of good-looking.
She's.
She's kind of. I mean, yeah, you have.
She's like a 5 or 6, maybe. Okay. If she's done her makeup and everything and her hair that day, maybe.
I think that there are new conservative, good-looking women like Lauren Boebert, like what's the governor from North Dakota?
Kristi Noem.
Yeah, like she's hot. Even that idiot that gave the response to the State of the Union is good.
Katie Britt.
Very good. So I think it's like Fox News. Conservatives are duped by good-looking women.
Oh, yeah.
It's just easy to manipulate them.
Oh, yeah. Fox has made a lot of money on it. Right. Come on.
Exactly. So.
Nancy Mace was, she just endorsed, well, let me back up here. About 6 years ago, I think, 6 years ago or so, she came out and said, when I was 16 years old, I was raped. And it was an awful experience and blah, blah, blah. Well, she's a conservative, and people have asked her and talked to her about being pro-life and everything else. And she's just kind of all over the place with everything. She just endorsed Trump. So that's odd if, you come out and you talk about rape and how terrible it is and what needs to change so, it doesn't happen to women.
So you endorse the convicted sex offender. Yeah, nice.
She sat down with George Stephanopoulos, and it is crazy what everyone is talking about. They're blasting her. Some of us are blasting her. Some of them are blasting George. But she went off on him. You want to hear what she said?
I'd like to blast her and go off on her. Maybe I'm picturing the wrong woman, but either way.
No, you're not embarrassing yourself. You'd screw her.
And you've endorsed Donald Trump for president. Judges and 2 separate juries have found him liable for rape and for defaming the victim of that rape. How do you square your endorsement of Donald Trump?
Well, I will tell you, I was raped at the age of 16. And any rape victim will tell you, I've lived for 30 years with an incredible amount of shame over being raped. I didn't come forward because of that judgment and shame that I felt. And it's a shame that you will never feel, George. And I'm not going to sit here on your show and be asked a question meant to shame me. about another potential rape victim. I'm not gonna do that.
It's actually not about shaming you. It's a question about Donald
No, you
Trump.
are shaming me.
You've endorsed Donald Trump for president.
Right.
Donald Trump has been found liable for rape by a jury. Donald Trump has been found liable for defaming the victim of that rape by a jury. It's been affirmed by a judge.
It was not a criminal court case, number one. Number two, I live with shame. And you're asking me a question about my political choices, trying to shame me as a rape victim, and I find it disgusting. And quite frankly, E. Jean Carroll's comments when she did the judgment, joking about what she was going to buy, it makes it harder for women to come forward when they make a mockery out of rape. When they joke
you're shaming her now.
Doesn't it make it harder for women to come forward when they?
It makes it harder when other women joke about it, and she's joked about it.
It is. I mean, she's completely crazy, right?
I mean, the hypocrisy is tenfold there. I mean, first of all, she's shaming E. Jean Carroll. She's trying to play the rape card as a reason to not answer the question when Stephanopoulos is right. Like, I wasn't asking you about being raped. You're saying you're anti-sexual assault, anti-rape, and you're endorsing, like, it's a completely valid question. And that bullshit of, it was a civil trial, not a criminal. Who cares? It was a trial jury. That's our country.
Apparently, I guess a civil rape is different than a criminal rape, I guess. Maybe is that what she's trying to say? I mean, come on.
So. And E. Jean did not joke about it. She said that she was going to spend money on something that Trump would hate. That wasn't a joke.
Yeah, it's called retail therapy. It's really, she's trying to get over her rape, so relax.
Yes, and she just confirmed one of the big talking points against E. Jean Carroll, that why'd she wait so long to say anything? She just said herself that rape victims feel shame. They don't want to talk about it for years and years, so you just gave her credibility.
Stephanopoulos, who served as a White House communications director under former President Clinton, played a 2019 video of Mace talking about her position on a fetal heartbeat bill in South Carolina from the perspective of someone who was raped when she was a teenager. She talks about all this stuff about being raped, but when she steps up to the plate, she's going and has endorsed a man who has been, found guilty of rape in a court of law.
Right.
But I mean, how many people have come out and said, like, he raped me, he felt me up? Did we find out about this list that was sent out by Brewski?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a whole other thing. So, yeah, Brewski sent us an interesting list, and I just want to put the entire caveat out there that this is completely unconfirmed. It's very specific of a list, but it's unconfirmed. But I would like to talk about it under the context that this actually hasn't been confirmed yet. So we're not.
No, it hasn't. The list has not been. I shared it with you guys,
right?
Because I found it really interesting.
What was the gist of it?
That there have been a number of sexual assaults committed by the former president on both males and females.
That Michael Cohen actually had to. This apparently comes from Michael Cohen saying that these are a list of a small few that I had to cover, that I was a part in covering up.
And that he had to facilitate the payments to these people.
Right. Exactly. And these were teenagers. I mean, these were kids, like 12, 13 years old.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, there were a couple of them.
There was a 9-year-old.
A couple of that, I was going to say, that testified in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial because she was also sexually assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein as well.
So I don't know. I mean, it's coming from Michael Cohen, who we know has a large amount of credibility. I mean, obviously he's been convicted of lying too, but it was a very specific list with names, with ages, with settlements, and the mainstream media is not going to cover it unless it's been corroborated. So that's why I'm saying, like, we're talking about this under the fact that it's uncorroborated. But I mean, would that finally be the nail in Trump's coffin? Would his supporters even care if he was raping a 12-year-old boy?
No.
Mm-hmm. I agree, Brewski.
Right?
I mean, well, first of all, they'll just say it's bullshit. Michael Cohen, he was, he's been in jail for lying. Like, this is bullshit. I don't buy it.
Right.
Well, something tells me, though, that someone like Michael Cohen, even when he was, quote unquote, in the good graces of Donald Trump, that he saved receipts on everything.
Cough it up then.
Well, I'm certain.
Listen, his base may still support him, but the center is not. If he's a pedophile, I mean, come on.
Well, and the other thing, though, too, is that I think the reason why his base will still support him no matter what is because he's promising them all the things that they want. And they know that he's going to do everything he can to give it to them. They just want what they want.
Absolutely. And they're all in a cult, so they're never going to see the light of day or the truth or anything else. But,
yes, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, Cohen, if you've got that kind of information, please give me the receipts. Like, let's run with this thing. So,
I mean, they were very small blurbs about it, but very, like Steve said, very specific. I mean, it even went into what type of sex, if it was, oral sex or sodomy. I mean, it was crazy.
But yeah, someone like Nancy Mace. I mean, we've done this 100 times on the show. This Republican hypocrisy, where they just talk out of both sides of their mouth and get called out, plain as the light of day, and won't admit to it. So I don't know who's railing on Stephanopoulos, but screw them. That has to be the Trumpers, because that's a completely legitimate question. And I hope this is not inappropriate to say, which means I know it is. That's one rape victim that can go fuck herself if that is how she is going to play that card. Because seriously, that's not something that you should be trying to use as a defense for your hypocrisy, the fact that you got raped.
You're minimizing it. You're doing the exact same thing you're talking about. There's the hypocrisy we're talking about. She's completely minimizing it, don't you think?
Yeah, using it to deflect and not answer an obvious question that she can't answer because she knows she'll look like a hypocrite.
Well, good luck to Nancy Mace.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you...
We interrupt our program to bring you a special...
Here is a news bulletin.
We interrupt this program to bring you...
All the humanity and all the state which will live in infamy. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Need to know news. News you need to know.
It's time for another brewski. This one is a crazy brewski.
Hey, guys. So...
I feel like I'm calling out on the Tonight Show with you. Hey, everybody. Come on.
A good friend over here.
Sorry, proceed. Yes.
So we've all left stuff at hotels, and we've also tipped housekeepers, I believe, at the end of our stay, if they've done a decent job.
What kind of tip are we talking about?
Well, so a housekeeper at a hotel in Atlanta found something that someone was leaving behind. I don't think they meant to leave it as a tip, per se.
Okay.
Atlanta police released body cam video of their seizure of $250,000 worth of cocaine a housekeeper found in a hotel closet.
Oh, wow.
Stop snooping, housekeeper.
No, the person checked out of the hotel.
Dude, it's a complete setup for a movie, because you're a housekeeper at a hotel, you find all those drugs, and you do think to yourself, like, should I take this and sell it? Like, I could fix all my financial problems.
Right. But it's the old find a bag of money. All of you that say you turn it in are all liars. That's interesting. I mean, what kind of dumbass criminal leaves that much cocaine behind?
Dumb criminals. The housekeeper found a duffel bag holding 9 bricks of cocaine at the Georgian Terrace Hotel. Detectives reviewed the hotel surveillance footage and found and identified the suspect, this 24-year-old man.
Was it a bear?
No, it was not. It was not. Police and DEA agents arrested him and charged him with trafficking cocaine.
Wow.
What if someone else left it ahead of him and he just never checked the closet? That would have been
probably going to be in his defense, dude. I would think that'd be a great defense.
If he's walking in carrying that bag, though, when he's checking in.
Fake news. You don't know my bag? Come on.
Everybody has one of those Samsonite bags. Come on.
Well, I have a question. I need to throw out on this as well.
Sure,
please.
I put that brick in your face, and what are you going to do with it?
I'd be throwing a hotel staff party at that place, whatever Holiday Inn that was. I mean, geez.
There's a rapper named Stitches, and he's known because he has Stitches tattooed on the side of his face, and he has a song called "Brick in Your Face." It's basically he forces people to sell cocaine for him and that sort of thing.
Nice. See, this is the problem we've talked about before. Like, if somebody told me, like, there's such a drug problem in this country, but, go buy a bag of Coke, I would not know where to go buy a bag of Coke. It is not just pull up on any street corner in America and go buy a bag of Coke.
No.
Same thing. If you gave me a suitcase full of cocaine, I'd be like, I don't know who to sell this to. Like, how am I going to unload all of this?
Yes. Listen, you know what? I don't spend time with unsavories, okay? But I could make a few phone calls at the very least.
To what? To buy some Coke?
or sell. I mean, I have a couple of people that I would go through on my phone that I could probably make a call, and they might not do it, but they know people who could do it.
Well, the old 6 degrees of separation, I guess, somewhere down the chain. But that first call or two would have to be awkward, right?
Yeah. Well,
looking for coke.
Yeah, not for one person.
But these days now, I couldn't. Here now, I don't know anybody at all.
Right.
Yeah,
I would do the Costco thing. I would try to find one person I could sell it at a discounted bulk rate and let them deal with it. I'll just take the 10 grand or whatever.
Yeah, you don't want to, be delving it out over 2 years. Like one purchase, one jackpot, we walk away.
Now you realize, though, Nick, those 3 people you called, you've now, implicated them in your new drug ring. So,
if they say no, then it's not that big of a deal, But if they say yes, that's my speech, dude. One sale, one jackpot. We walk away.
They
we
can't
never talk about it.
They can't call you and ask you just for like an 8-ball or a teenth or something like that. Or
a good drug dealer always breaks off a little. Come on, let's be real here.
The drug dealer's code. Yeah, I hear you.
I keep thinking to myself, that poor guy who left the cocaine. Like, have you ever left your house and forgot your cell phone at home?
Yeah.
And where you get like a mile down the road, you're like, shit, got to turn around. When did he realize, like, oh, damn it, I got to turn around and go back?
Right.
My 9 bricks of cocaine in my hotel room.
Listen, it's like the old, the people that we've heard this story numerous times over the years where somebody steals drugs from you and you call the cops. Somebody stole my drugs. Like, same thing. If you realize you forgot a kilo of cocaine in the hotel, you better just keep driving and hope for the best. You're not going back to lost and found.
But who do you want to answer to? Do you want to answer to the cops, or do you want to answer to the person who actually owns that kilo of drugs that you left behind?
Yeah, I mean, that was the premise of Cocaine Bear. That's why those guys were out there looking for the drugs in the woods, because the main cartel was like, you better find our freaking drugs. Hey, that's on you.
Have you guys ever found drugs in a hotel room?
No.
I wish, but no.
I was in Portland, checked into a nicer hotel, and about a half hour into being in the room, I was putting something in the closet. There was a huge bong sitting in the closet, and it was just packed. And I was like, oh, gosh, if that thing didn't look so dirty, I'd toke on that. Because they hadn't cleaned it out in a while. It looked like an edgy bong, dude.
Hilarious. That's the problem with finding drugs, right? You don't know if it's laced with something or,
Yeah, you got to be pretty desperate to, take drugs that you have found. But, hey, if a friend of mine sells it to me, no biggie.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I will tell you, I was once on a bus going from Tacoma back up to Seattle. So this is a quality ride.
Sure.
And this guy who was sitting across the aisle from me actually reached down. And he was kind of a homeless looking guy. And on the floor, they had that rubberized floor with like the grooves in it so you don't slip and fall and all that sort of thing. Yeah. And in between one of the grooves, there was a random pill on the floor. He picked it up. He's like playing pill roulette. He kind of looked at it for a second and kind of like just put it in his mouth and swallowed it. Has no idea what he just took whatsoever.
You're about to go on some sort of ride. You just don't know where you're going, dude.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
See, now I hear that story and you think, man, that guy's a moron. Why would you take that risk? But, especially in my 20s, you know how many times I was at a party where someone's like, hey, you want to take this? And I just take it. I don't even ask them what it is. Just, you're offering it? Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah, why not?
They have parties now where, you are required to bring a bottle of pills from your medicine cabinet. And when you get there, they're all thrown in a bowl. And then they just mix them up, and people will come and, take little handfuls, take 3 or 4 of them. And, that's the party.
Yeah, it's a drug roulette. That's fun.
Oh, boy.
Dottie, the nurse I was dating, she would constantly hand me pills that I would just pop. Now, they were usually to help me recover from a hangover. I was sick or something. But I told her once, it's a good thing I trust you, because I always just take anything you hand me. And just down it. So.
You're lucky you got out of there, dude. It could have been a cyanide before you know it,
Right. Or she could have roofied me and taken advantage of me. That would have been fun. I would have been down with that. So. Wasn't that an episode at SVU once where they were drugging their spouses and,
yes,
assaulting them, but the spouse was into it. So
yeah. I think that would be weird.
That was kind of the thing they wanted to be drugged and taken advantage of.
I would totally do that. It's like being chained up and being taken advantage of. You know, you're tied up, you can't do anything. Same if someone roofied you. If you trust them, I would trust them to molest me.
You're not going to remember it.
Well, that's interesting. Some roofies you do, but yeah, I guess it depends what they give.
Or you might drift in and out.
Film it, show it to me later. I'll be surprised. It'd be fun.
Would you trust me just to give you a roofie? Like if I told you, like, I'm not going to touch you. I just want to see what it does.
The way you just asked, I don't trust you anymore now.
See, that's what I'm saying, dude. And I know you trust me, so you're going to give a girl, that you've known a few months, a roofie?
Yeah. It's a fair point. Sometimes my judgment gets skewed when it comes to full-blown erection. So
yes, that is a true statement.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know. Start the news chant, please.
Come on. News.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I wasn't going to do the story, but I will now. I will dovetail it with Brewski's maid in the hotel room story here. Here's a fun thing. I mean, hotels, we're always worried about the cleanliness. We're worried about cameras nowadays, right? Have we seen all the stories about Airbnbs and hotels?
Yeah.
Right? It's craziness. Well, I'm going to Vegas this weekend, actually, and that is where this story takes place. I've got a little family reunion happening in Vegas, which I actually think is a bit of a letdown. Like, if we're going to Vegas, I want to go with a woman. I want to go party. I want to have fun. I'm going with my sisters. Like, it's going to be lame, but I will be in Vegas this week.
By the way,
does your sister listen to the podcast?
It's going to be lame in the relative scope of what you should be doing in Vegas. That's my point.
Well, maybe your sister will give you a little nookie, dude.
Hey, we're not from the deep south. Come on.
Well, just so you know, since you're going to Vegas.
Yeah.
So the good folks at Circus did just revamp the Slots of Fun area, which is right on the front of Circus.
Yeah.
And Slots of Fun is fantastic because they still have the old slot machines where, like, you get money that you have to put in, like, those plastic cups and everything.
Do they have levers you can actually pull? Because that's what I miss on slots.
Yeah, pull the levers. So now these days, when you get a jackpot or you cash it out, it's just an audio file that plays like the sound of coins hitting the thing. No. At Slots of Fun, it's coins hitting in the bottom there, and they have the $2 shrimp cocktails, and they also have like cheap hot dogs.
Are you sponsored by Circus now? What's going on?
No,
dude, come on.
I will tell you this. I literally read this article to my sister last night, so it's stuck in my head. Right. And I'm going to Vegas in a few weeks, for Viva. But they've got like cheap beer. They even have $5 minimums at the table games.
Oh, do they have the loosest slots on the Vegas Strip?
No, but think about that. You can go there and you can be throwing down all sorts of money on like whatever you want to play table games wise, and you're not losing a shit ton of money or anything like that, so you don't feel as bad.
Walk over to the slot machine, dude, and fill your hands with fecal and cum stained coins, and rub your eyes.
It's nostalgia. Come on.
I mean, but think about this though. I mean, when you go to open a door at a convenience store, I mean, who knows what the hell's been touched in that stuff?
Yeah, Nick.
I don't mean to interrupt, Steve, but I was just going to throw that to you so that it's just something. In case you're with the folks that don't gamble, are afraid to gamble, you can take them there and they can play penny slots and they can fill their cup with change and all that stuff.
That is a funny thing, though. I don't gamble myself, and I live in a casino town, and I just don't enjoy gambling. I like to get something for my money, so I don't actually do any of that. But it's all good advice, though. I'll tell the tourism board you got their back. So
and the good folks at Circus, dude. The good
Slots
folks
of Fun. Go to Slots of Fun. That's where you want to go.
All right. Well, the man staying at a Vegas hotel, he hit a different kind of jackpot. I would say this is 1 in a million or 1 in a billion, or it freaking better be. A scorpion stung a man in his testicles while sleeping at a Las Vegas hotel. Let that sink in on you.
Yeah, that hurts, dude. And also, I don't think it's 1 in a million or 1 in a billion. I think that's pretty common in places that have a lot of scorpions.
In a hotel room, though? A scorpion made it in a hotel, upstairs, up an elevator somehow, into a hotel room, into someone's bed, and then not only stung him on his testicles? That's got to be 1 in a billion. That's a bullseye.
Common area.
But think about this. That's one of the warmest areas on your body.
Yeah.
Your genitals and also under your armpits are the warmest areas on your body.
Great. So how am I supposed to sleep in a Vegas hotel room this weekend? Do I put an ice pack on my nuts to take the temperature down?
You wear tight boxers or something and put your cup on, dude. I mean, take your cup to Vegas.
I don't sleep naked, so maybe that's some level of built-in protection. I don't know.
Yes.
Well, yeah, a California man is suing a luxury resort in Vegas after claiming that a scorpion stung his testicles while asleep at the hotel. Michael Farchai told the Vegas station KLAS on Monday that he found a scorpion hanging on his underwear. Well, I guess he was wearing underwear after waking up, and he was in a lot of pain while staying at the Venetian last year.
Okay,
it's a high-end one. So I don't know if he took pictures. I don't know if it's on Pornhub, but.
How do you, that was my thought. How do you report that? I mean, you got to show your balls to somebody. So he went to the hospital. They wrote up a report. I mean, that's going to be an interesting court case, dude. I would like to find out more about it when it happens.
Let's see here. Though less than 10% of scorpion stings cause systemic symptoms such as fever, body aches, or fatigue, those that do can be life-threatening, according to the National Library of Medicine. And I had told you guys I found a scorpion in my house this past summer that I had no idea we had scorpions around here. Apparently it's possible.
Yeah. Somebody could have taken that to Vegas to feed their snake or something like that. You know, like he didn't have to crawl up into that building. Like somebody could have brought the scorpion there.
Yeah, well, but think about this though. There are a lot of scorpions in Las Vegas. It's a desert area, and if you watch that show on TV, that Flipping Vegas show, there have been times where they've actually bought a house that they're going to flip that was closed up for a long time, and they'll find an infestation of scorpions.
This sounds more to me like the guy that goes into the emergency room with a light bulb stuck up his ass. And he's like, I sat on a light bulb. Somebody got stuck up there somehow. Like this guy probably likes getting punched in the nuts while jerking off. So he thought, like, I'm going to have a scorpion sting my balls while I'm jerking it. That'll feel awesome. Now he's regretting it. So
yeah, that's entirely true. There's people who love the pain and weird things on their peanut, dude.
Right. I'm just saying, it sounds like a long shot. That even if it was someone brought it to feed a snake with, like you were saying, like it still somehow got into this guy's room, under the covers, right to his balls. And
are you going to be so nervous, dude, when you sleep there?
Honestly, when I'm in hotel rooms, I'm like, I don't care if there's a camera. I don't care what's on this mattress. You just got to go with it. Otherwise, you're never going to sleep, right?
Yeah. I got one of the RF readers for my wife because she goes to so many hotels.
Yeah.
So, you could go around and get a little reading on a camera. There's all kinds of cameras set up behind mirrors and such. I mean, who's to say? You could be on a video somewhere, Harness.
Absolutely. NBC News did a whole story about this. And they showed, they blurred it, but they showed clips from Pornhub of people that have been filmed at Airbnbs having sex. And the owner of the house or whatever posts it on the internet for porn.
It's crazy. Have you seen the videos? A lot of them, I feel like, anyway, take place in New York City, where they're in the toilet cameras, watching women pee.
I don't watch those, but yes, I've heard of the phenomenon that it is. So
you've never seen one?
No. Ugh, God, no, I don't want to see that.
Okay.
I don't know what you're into, but I'm not into it at all.
I'm not into it, dude. I've just seen them. That's what I'm saying. It's very common.
Right. Well, now I do feel pressure, though. If I'm going to have sex in a hotel room, I better bring my A game, because if it's ending up on Pornhub, I don't want to be embarrassed,
Right. Get yourself hard before you walk in the room every time.
Right. Wear a cowboy hat, fling it around or something. Like, I got to take my game up to the A levels. So
yeah, you better get it up there.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know.
Did anyone watch the State of the Union?
I did not watch it live. I have watched 99% of the replay.
All right. Were we impressed with rock star Biden, the way he was amped up and the speech he gave? What did we think?
Yes. I had told my kids the reason I wasn't watching it live is because Biden's not an Obama. He's not this eloquent speaker that I already know I'm voting for him, so I don't need to hear it. But I heard the initial reviews, so I went back and watched it, and that was the best speech he's ever given. He was on fire in a great way. And even Fox News afterwards had to acknowledge, like, that wasn't Sleepy Joe. And Hannity tried to make up some nickname, Jacked Up Joe. It's like, hell yeah, that was Jacked Up Joe, and that's a good thing. Go with that nickname, right?
Yeah. What? He's asleep or or he's jacked up. You don't like either? Like, you're just a dick at this point. It was a great speech. Brewski, your thoughts?
I don't want to ruin anything that you might reveal, but did you see when he's walking down the aisle and he sees Hobbit feet standing there with her MAGA hat?
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Funniest thing I've ever seen this year. I mean, that was hysterical.
Okay, what did you see the look on his face?
Yes, that's what I mean. Like,
you know what that said to me? That was like, when kids come to your door on Halloween trick or treating.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, look at you. You're so scary. Woo.
You're a scary witch. Yeah. No, it
How about
was.
a Snickers for you? Huh? Get a little Snickers, maybe a Kit Kat or something like that. But that to me, that's what that look on his face said to me.
Yeah. First of all, she's dressed in red. She has the Make America Great hat on, and he walks up and sees her, and I mean, he's like, ooh, jumps back about 3 feet, I think that's a great way to describe it, Brewski. It was like, oh, you so scary.
I thought he caught a waft of those Hobbit feet, so maybe that's what the look was like.
Could have been real, dude. We don't know.
I loved how he called people out. I love how he called the Supreme Court out right to their faces. It's the old, I don't want to be offensive, but let me offend you. He said, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but, and he stuck it to him. And I love that he embraced being old. He turned it around on them. I may be old, but your ideas are old. Like, kudos. Thank you.
Yes. I think Biden did a great job. And like Steve said, even Fox was saying, like, he was all riled up, ready to go. He was, cognitive, making choices, and he wasn't, Trump mocked him a little bit for stuttering, which was so fucked up. But the big takeaway of the night is that Joe was fantastic. And the wrap up by Katie Britt was not. Okay.
No. Listen, whether you like the speech or not, the narrative is out there that he killed it, he nailed it, he was not Sleepy Joe, he was not too old, and that's what we need out there in the ether, because so many people, like we talked about at the top of the show, they don't watch the news, they just hear things on social media, and that's what's been all over, that Joe killed it, so that's good.
Yes, that is the big takeaway from the night. Katie Britt, who I didn't know of, Rachel said, "Oh, she was an up and comer in Alabama, but she gave the wrap up to or what do they call that?
The response.
The response, yes. And people watched it, and it was horrendous. I mean, everybody. Even on the Republican side is talking about this.
Yes.
Chris Matthews, I'm going to play a clip of you with Chris Matthews talking about her a little bit. But first, I found this clip because I had never heard her speak before this.
I never heard her before this. So, yeah.
So this is a contrast of what she normally sounds like and then how she spoke at the rebuttal State of the Union.
I am looking forward to delivering the Republican response to the State of the Union. So tune in.
President Biden's border policies are a disgrace.
Oh.
This crisis is despicable.
What was me?
And the truth is, it is almost entirely preventable.
And thank you to all the gentlemen behind me who continue to work diligently to actually secure our border. That's what the American people deserve. But unfortunately, Joe Biden refuses to give that to them.
Mr. President, enough is enough. Innocent Americans are dying, and you only have yourself to blame.
Everything that we put forth that would actually secure and close the border, the Democrats don't want. This is yet another prong of the failed Bidenomics. This is the definition of America last.
The American people
Okay, I get the point.
Well,
listen, as everyone said, it sounded like she was auditioning for a Lifetime movie or some B movie soap opera kind of thing. She sounds like a terrible Scarlett O'Hara from the South. What was me? Oh, the terrible Joe Biden. Who?
Why was she in the kitchen? People are wondering why she was in the kitchen,
There was some Republican focus group that thought it was a good idea to not only have her, give this dramatic presentation, to wear the cross around her neck, but to, put a woman in the kitchen in the year 2024. Even frickin' Kelly, what's her name? Megyn Kelly. She was going off and like, who the fuck thought it was okay to put her in a kitchen? This is a politician who has gotten herself elected, who has credentials, and instead of putting her in front of a flag or whatever, you put her in a kitchen.
I think for what they may have been trying to do was to show that this is a regular mom, kitchen table issues. We've always heard that catchphrase.
I wonder if that's really, if they thought that was an intelligent thing, or if they just thought our base is the only one that's going to vote for us. So let's do the cliches. Let's put a woman in the kitchen with the cross around her neck and just let's amp it up.
She made the comment that Brewski made when she, kicked the whole thing off. Like, this is where the big decisions in America are made. In the kitchen, like this is where families discuss shit, is in this kitchen, so... Yeah.
And we know now, by the way, this whole story she told about the immigrants, sex trafficking and all that, it's bullshit. It happened under George W. Bush. It happened in Mexico, not America. Like, she totally lied.
And the woman who she lied about, actually, they've spoken with her, and the stories today where she pointed out all the things that were complete lies. I won't even say factually incorrect. They were lies.
Yeah. And it was funny, too. One Republican conservative that night, while she was talking, he was tweeting about what a disaster this was. What are we doing? What are we thinking? He said, this is a Saturday Night Live sketch in the making. You just watch this Saturday night. This will get parodied. And what happened on SNL?
Scarlett Johansson.
Yes. Scarlett Johansson did the cold open and parodied it. And I wonder how Scarlett Johansson got the phone call. What connection does she have?
You don't know?
No, I do know. Obviously,
okay,
she's married Colin Jost, so yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I thought that was awesome that they got her to come do that, and yeah, that pundit was right. I don't know. As always, though, as we talked about earlier, this new trend of good-looking conservatives. I'm sitting there listening to her, thinking like, "You're just a moron," but she's kind of cute, kind of hot.
You need
bless your heart
into your bathroom or wherever you masturbate, dude. Because
I can't help myself. I have two eyes; they work. Okay.
Yeah, but she's not that hot, dude.
No,
she's pretty cute. I don't know.
She's doable, but she's like, yeah. But think about this, okay? So she's conservative, okay?
Yeah.
And so that already kind of like hurts the whole, wanting to do her and that sort of thing.
Sure, yeah.
But but she's not even really hot. You know what I mean? Like if she was hot, you could put that aside.
Rachel used to always tell me, it was funny being in the military because girls were, either ugly or army hot. There's a difference. Like she's pretty army hot. She's pretty conservative hot, I guess. But, her two front teeth are about 3 feet long, dude. I mean, she looks like
how dare you criticize her on her looks?
I will, dude. I will criticize.
Listen, she's no Christy, no, but I think she's definitely bangable. And Brewski, you've talked about wanting to be hate fucked by conservatives where they're calling you a dirty liberal and stuff. You wouldn't let her do that to you?
Yeah. She's just boring, though. You know what I mean? I mean, at least I know there's going to be some real anger if there's somebody that really just despises me. She just kind of feels like she would more like be one of those chicks that just kind of lays there and just is like, just tell me when you're done. You know what I mean?
So you think Megyn Kelly could give it to you correctly, but this woman's a wet rag, right?
Oh, probably. Yeah, yeah.
I love it. On a scale of 1 to 10, she's a
maybe a 5,
All right, fair enough.
All right, boys, we got to wrap her up. Just like a big old penis. Going to Vegas, have fun, harness, and thanks for listening to the program today.
I don't wrap it up. I dip conservatively, and I'm disease-free and had a vasectomy. Just if anyone's listening out there that needs that kind of information.
Right. Call now.
Right. What's our phone, Nick?
Call us at 844-48-VOCAL. And you can also communicate on our website if you'd rather do that, thevocalminority.net. See all the socials, please.
Do see the socials and do share them worldwide. I don't care if you're in Moscow or not. Just spread the good word for us.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Brewski.
Das vidanya.
And we say bye-bye.
Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Stop.